Hey everyone, how's it going? I hope you're all doing great and you're following the 3H's of the channel. And you want to strap in for this one. It's about to get strange. If that sounds like something you're interested in, pull up a stump with me and let's get into it. Thank you for watching. So a few years ago, I went to this house party that was for some rich old guy who was also a pastor. I showed up because my family wanted to go. The pastor talks with everyone, has conversations, and lets out that one of his friends helped him set everything up, as in just the one guy who basically did everything by himself. Everyone has a different description of him though. Some people say that he's a tall old man, and some people say that he's just a kid. Now for a bit, this didn't bother me, because people often misplace faces, they often misplace people. Until I actually saw the guy. It was an entrance that I'll never forget. I look out across the lake, and there's something in the water coming toward the shore. I'm thinking it's a duck or a turtle, but no, it's the guy's hat. And here he comes, walking up out of the water like it was nothing. He was wearing a huge black coat and a huge black hat. No one seemed to really notice him show up but me. But suddenly, he's here, and I can't stop noticing him everywhere, mainly being talked to by all the old people, like really old people, but he himself never really talks. He looks young until you look at him, and then he looks old, and then young again. It's really hard to put an age on him. Sometimes he looks like half his face was young and the other half was old. While anyone is talking to him, they're completely enamored by him, but when he's gone, it's like they forgot he ever existed. I finally got close to him while everyone was getting together to say goodbye, and I finally hear him talk. His voice is both wrong and spectacular in every possible way. He has a very strong accent that I have never been able to place, something like Dracula or German or something like that. It's so deep that I can only listen to the sound, and I totally miss whatever he's trying to say. But then it's time to go, and I wait to see how he leaves. He goes off by himself, unnoticed, and then walks off into the tree line. There's nothing there but underbrush and woods, but that's where he disappears. People barely remember that he was there. Not only that, they can't describe him very well, and no one really has any definite idea about anything about him. Very odd. I was 8 years old. I remember waking up in my parents' bed. I must have fell asleep on the couch downstairs and had been carried up to bed, but all I remember is lying there alone. The light in the hall was on, and I heard the TV downstairs. So I thought my parents were still down there, watching TV. So I enjoyed the huge bed to myself, their heavy thick duvet covering me, a freshly made bed that I could stretch out in. But there was a lump on the bed next to me, and it shifted a bit as I stretched out. I remember it moving. I just thought it was the dog, so I moved my little toes toward it, under the covers. But when my foot touched this lump, it was nothing but cold, like ice cold, against the sole of my foot. I snatched it back quickly, and whatever was making the lump in the bed slid off the other side. I heard nothing, but I felt the cover being pulled as it moved, and I was frozen. What was in the bed with me, and does it know that I'm aware? I lay there for an eternity, my ears open and my breathing light, trying to hear whatever it was on the floor. Or was it under the bed? Was it waiting for me to move? I was so quiet that I could hear the TV show clearly now. There was no show on, just a high-pitched ringing. The TV channel had ended for the night. I thought, so why are my parents not in bed? I sat up in bed, slowly, quietly, trying to disturb the huge bed as little as possible. I pulled the covers away so I could make the jump from the bed to the light of the hall. Then I could run downstairs and get my parents. I could make it. So I stood on the bed and I jumped. I ran down the stairs so fast that I ran into the living room and I saw them. My parents were frozen, staring at the TV, eyes open, mouths open, just frozen still. And I could feel it behind me, at the top of the stairs, looking at me. I turned around, and all I could see were its huge, glass black eyes, and all I could hear was the TV. And then, I wake up outside my house. My parents thought I was sleepwalking. They don't remember putting me to bed, though. I had this experience with my friend. I don't know what to call it. Bizarre, crazy, scary. It was kind of all of those. So me and my friend were exploring the local dump. People leave free stuff there sometimes. There's a swap shed. He shows me this area behind the dump where people stash things from the dump to pick up later. And if you're wondering why we were at the dump in the first place, my friend is a salvage expert. He has a travel trailer in the area behind the dump where he stays occasionally. So I'm with him and we're winding these heavily forested wide trails that are full of large abandoned machinery. They've been stashed for future metal salvage. He shows me all the prime picks that we can come back for later. There's this mannequin at the dump entrance that he refers to as Paula. He says that if you want to take anything, you must first ask Paula. At first, I believed this was a joke. I thought it was kind of like an inside joke among people that salvage there, but he was very serious about it. This area is also highly contaminated, very unlivable. Basically, when you see something you want, you have to instinctively think of this mannequin and ask it if you can have it, and the answer will be given to you. As insane as that sounds, that's what they do. So we're exploring and we're chatting for a couple of hours. We're checking out these cool abandoned things that are strewn alongside the trails. There's even abandoned encampments that are God knows how old. As we're exploring, we stop by a friend's travel trailer to go grab some salvage using my phone flashlight. As we're walking out of the winding network of wide forested trails behind this camp, my friend nods his head in the direction of a trail that we didn't go down. I look down the trail, and I see the real Paula. It turns out that the mannequin is not the real Paula. The real Paula is down this trail, and she's surrounded by an atmospheric distortion or something. She's sitting with her knees in front of her, hunched over. Her arms are wrapped around her knees, completely naked, emaciated. The longer I look, the more wrong it looks. Extra long arms, extra long legs. The eyes are pale white. She has pale white hair, long enough to spread along the ground behind her and beside her legs. Her skin is impossibly pale and translucent almost. Paula raises her head as I look at her. I get the feeling that I should not gawk at Paula and continue to follow my friend back to the exit of the trails where my car is parked. Just as we're returning to my car, I look back and the trail leading away from Paula is now blocked off with a large glowing tent, perhaps a 12-man tent. My friend ushers me to go back to the car, so I do so. I get back in the car, I take my friend home, and I try to go to bed. Nothing about what happened makes any sense to me. I don't know what the significance of the mannequin is, what the hell this Paula thing is, or what's in that area to cause something like that. It just, again, doesn't make sense. So back when I was 19 years old, I was living in the suburbs in a really nice house without any kind of thing going on. There were no ghosts, no demons, no nothing. not even really anything in the neighborhood. But like the loving assholes that my dad and my stepmom were, they say I'm lazy, and they say that I'm good for nothing. They say this while I simultaneously work 12-hour shifts for my dad's startup business, trying to be his apprentice. They threaten to kick me out. My mother, who moved to Ohio, and I have improved our relationship greatly by this point. I take her up on her offer to move to Ohio. I get a job. I get freedom from the income that I made. Life is pretty good. And this is all except the fact that the house that I moved into in Ohio had 3 entities and was haunted as shit. Around the first week I moved in, a neighbor woman and I started to talk. She said that an old man haunted the house, but she said that he was a sweetheart, and she asked him to turn off a light, and he did for her when she went there to check on the place for the old owners. She said that a little girl saw an old man ghost with a bandage on his neck in there. It's the most terrifying house that I've ever been in. The sweet old man was scared, I believe. I only saw the ghost of a very old man in my closet. I think he possessed me a few times because once my voice became gruff and I became angry in my room when I lost something and I didn't talk like myself. My brother in the hallway was watching and stared at me like he didn't know me and was scared. Luckily, it wore off. At nighttime, I would get up to pee once a night. The upstairs hallway made a T shape, a small T. I learned from friends that were into the paranormal at the time that was really bad because it basically acted as a crossroads, which acted as a doorway for things to come here. I haven't found any info like that with personal research, but I do believe it. When I woke up, I would imagine in vivid detail something that I could see through the wall, a dark black creature crouched halfway up the stairs. All the doors upstairs were kept shut at night. My room was across from my brother's, and the toilet was across from the stairs. As soon as I opened the door, it moved. I wasn't imagining it. It was human-shaped, but its limbs were too long and too thin. It was pitch black with a smooth face, without a mouth, without eyes. It moved its limbs in jerky movements. It moved when I moved down the hallway, and it moved up the stairs on all fours like a bear crawl. Its arms were so long that it held its elbows up in the air when it bent its arms. I got to the bathroom quickly, like a race, and closed the door. It froze. I could feel its eyes on me when I was forced to look its way as I closed the bathroom door. I never looked at it directly, but I could sense its presence, like a stain on my perception, even if my eyes were closed or there was a wall between us. So I did my business in the bathroom. I took a deep breath, and with a hand on the door, I couldn't stay in the bathroom. As I turned to close the door, I saw it. Its head passed the staircase entrance. It turned its head, and it was staring right at me, turning my way to come up as the door shut, and then it froze again, like a good sport who lost a game with rules that only it knew. This happened every single night. Since I was convinced I just had an active imagination to cope, I told myself that it was fake, and that my reaction was just fear of the dark. Then I realized I never once heard my brother get up at night to pee, get water, or anything. He kept his door shut tight all night long. As a kid, he was always up at night, and he was always up at strange hours, to the point that I would yell at him at 4 a.m. for waking me up with Donkey Kong intro music on the N64 when we were really little. That was the only house that he didn't move a muscle to leave that room after dark. Part of me wonders if he sensed it. Part of me wants to ask him, but another part of me is scared of confronting the idea that the thing on the stairs was 100% real. And one more thing. In this house that was in the same house as the old man ghost and the thing on the stairs, One day, my mom decided for me that I would like the room in the basement better. It's a walled-off corner of the basement with a door right next to the basement steps. The basement steps line up with upstairs and the downstairs steps. I didn't tell her anything about the staircase entity, so I have no idea why she got the idea in her head. I get put in a room that's already decorated with a random chair in the corner. My mother thought that I would be happy after a lifetime of making no choices if she chose every part of the room for me. I no longer see the thing on the stairs because I no longer leave my room at night. I felt more uneasy being closer to the stairs outside my door, and I had no idea what being directly under them would do if I ventured onto the stairs at night. When intuition screams, I listen. In my room is a new thing. It's only in there. A black silhouette of a man with a wide-brim hat. It's there, day or night, and it doesn't feel as evil as the staircase creature. It is content to just sit in the corner chair and smugly pretend that the chair was put there for it. It had the aura of a leader that was full of themselves, and a part of me wondered if it was the leader of the staircase creature. Luckily, I didn't have to investigate or discover jack shit because my mom's marriage crumbled. After that, I moved into a nice boring apartment, but my girlfriend was kind of crazy, but that's another story. My mom and my brother moved to Georgia after this. So I grew up in the sticks. No real cities or even decent towns anywhere close, so the local pastime for teenagers was to just get out and ride around looking for trouble, mudding in trucks and that kind of thing. One night, me, my best friend, and our dates were out in his truck riding the trails and stuff. We were up in an area that he'd heard about that supposedly had an old abandoned mining camp, like a little ghost town out in the middle of the woods. We found it. It was really creepy, yet cool as hell. A few little ramshackle houses and a couple of smallish buildings, and what looked like it must have been an old general store. Now, I can't stress this part enough. This stuff looked old by American standards, like it might have been all built in the 1800s. The construction was all wood and stone, like those walls you see made out of random-sized rocks. Most of it was all overgrown and falling in. But we got out and screwed around to see if we could find anything cool. My buddy's date was scared the whole time, and within minutes of us starting to explore, she was wanting to leave. She kept saying that she felt like that we shouldn't be there, that something wanted us to leave. My buddy ended up marrying this girl, by the way, and I can now vouch that she's probably a legit psychic. But we being red-blooded teenage boys just poked fun at her for being scared. And then the howling started. We have coyotes, and what we heard at first sounded like them yipping at the moon, but it was a lot of them, and it sounded pretty close. Both of us had guns because you don't just go off into the woods without them, and my buddy fired off a round to try and scatter them, to try and make the girls feel less scared. All the yipping stopped, but then, way, way closer to us, we heard this deep, ground-trembling growl, so loud and so deep that you could feel it in your chest. And then it howled, all deep and throaty, almost musical, exactly what you'd expect from a wolf. Only there was this quality to it that made me think that it was a human voice. We were all good and creeped out by it at that point, so we decided to get back in the truck to try and leave. On our way back out, we noticed something that we missed on our way in. Off on our left, back in the trees, is this old graveyard, so old that the forest has basically reclaimed it. At this point, it was just crude gravestones sticking up amongst the undergrowth. My date shot her hand up to point at something so carelessly scared that she actually ended up smacking me in the head in the act of just pointing. She said, "Look at that." I saw it then. Some of the tombstones had to be around 3 feet tall, especially the stone cross that this thing was behind, but it was head and shoulders above it. It was so big that I thought it was a bear for a second, but I was pretty sure that it had a tail. And then it did something that made me think again that it was a bear for a second. It stood up, but it was huge, easily 7 feet tall. This all took place over the course of seconds. The truck's lights weren't directly on it, and no way in hell was I rolling down the window to try and spotlight it. But then it did something that no bear really even can do. It came running and leaping toward the trail. I tell my buddy, "Go, go," and then we're hauling all the ass you can haul down a washed-out dirt trail deep in the woods. This thing is faster than us. We can get up to around 30 miles per hour at little stretches, but it's easily keeping pace. It was always behind us, just close enough that we can sort of make it out in the dim red glow of the taillights. It's like it will just get close enough to be seen, and then stop and stand there. This goes on for about 10 minutes of pure terror, and then it's just gone. When we finally got back to my buddy's house, I mentioned that as scary as all that was, it didn't seem like it wanted to hurt us. It seemed like it just wanted to scare us off, for us to go. That's when my buddy's girl said this: "Remember when I said that something wanted us to leave?" So all of those encounters were strange and terrifying in their own ways. If there was one that stuck out to you, as always, let me know which one it was down in the comments. If you would like to send your story in or donate to the channel, there's links in the description where you can do that. Here on YouTube are memberships and super thanks. And with all of that, I hope you enjoyed the videos this week, and if you did, please like and subscribe, and comment and favorite and all that great stuff. It really helps the channel grow. And with all of that, I thank you for pulling up a stump. I thank you for watching. Have a good week.